All right, I have one or two more. This one's kind of long. It's about like 2.5, 3 minutes, but that's okay. If you want to listen, you can. It's still very rusty. It's still in editing mode. But I'm really curious to hear it read out loud because it's one that I might end up submitting at some point to, um, potentially for like a writing residency or for publication. So I'm gonna give it a go. The title for now is called Dear Jordan, or Whoever This May Concern. I remember the long ecology labs looking at microscopic, small moss bodies, field trips exploring what it means to notice a being for the first time. They loved the little nooks and the dark, damp woods, the rotting wood, the bare, ancient rock with no soil. They could make something, so much, out of nothing. I remember bringing my tiny microscopic loupe with me everywhere, glistening leaves the size of a pinhead, opening up and letting all the water of the world in, no limit to how much they could hold. I tried to be like the moss, open and glistening and vibrant. I remember walking in late to class because the night before we had spent too much time exploring one another and not enough our field guides. I can't say I regret it, but I'd like to think the mosses forgave us. Maybe our teacher too. I remember your frustration, so many intricacies and hundreds of Latin names, how to read a complex field guide with no pictures, weekly quizzes, little sleep, too much time together, not enough with the natural world. I'm sorry I clung to you the way moss clung on rock. It was the way I survived then, the only way I knew how. Depending on my rock for my nourishment, drying up without that symbiosis, glistening, gone, water gone, no reflection of light, world overwhelming, so many limits of what I could hold. I wasn't anyone without the rock beneath me. You wrote to me in my favorite card ever, "You have a light in your eyes, and I hope that's a facet that never fades." And it has faded. Many, many moons have passed since then, and the memory of our time in the mossy, glistening woods of college has faded, as the rock eroded away, and the moss stood by itself, nothing to hold on to, but its own smallness and humbleness and ancient body. I found rocks with harder edges, for sheer survival, but at least they were my own. Being soft and green feels pretty good, but it doesn't always get food on my table in a home all my own. I don't mean to compare myself to something so beautifully green and vibrant, as I'm not always so vibrant as you saw me then. But despite the sharp rock edges and the hard lessons of symbiotic dependency and the long, cold, dark nights alone in the Northeast, desperately lonely, asexual, ancient moss with frozen leaves full of water, full of potential, waiting for spring, somewhere within all of it, I found my way.